Alright, what's up everybody? So I am out for an evening walk here, Southside Parkersburg at Broadway Church of the Nazarene. And I wanted to talk to you guys about a few local events to try to catch up on what's going on in our neighborhood, Parkersburg. I did run a race, a half marathon, 13.1 miles last weekend, Saturday. As you guys know, it was the homecoming here. And it was very hot. By noon it was up to 92 degrees. Now, when we started that half marathon, which was 13.1 miles, it was 70 degrees with 88% humidity. Well, it spiked up to 80 degrees by the time I was done, an hour and 43 minutes. A few minutes better than last year. I think I finished an hour 47 last year. My goal was to get top 3 in my age group and a cash prize. That didn't happen. I think I finished 5th place again, maybe, for the 3rd year in a row. Just missed it by about 11 minutes. It's kind of hard to make 11 minutes up. I shouldn't say I just missed it. That's a little bit of a gap there, but I needed an IV. Took a full IV bag and 3 small Gatorades. I had noticed I was losing a lot of body weight on the second half of that run. So I had hit the wall at mile 10, and from that point on, I noticed that my shorts kept falling down. Well, I had lost so much water weight, I never considered that. I tried to prepare this year. It didn't really stretch. And that does make a big difference. I did work a quadruple shift around it, and that affected me to some degree. I was pretty tired, but nonetheless, I ran it, and they are changing that race. No more 13th Street Hill, even though that road was very freshly paved. It looked really nice, but that hill is a killer. They're taking it out, and I think they're going to move it from August to October because I think several people had to get an IV. So I was one of them. Now, some of the local events going on, I don't want to say events, just catching up on the true crime stuff. I'm getting reports of human hair being found at Fort Borman. Some guy went and checked up on it. His wife had found it the first time he went back, and it was still there. It was blonde hair. Looked like it would have been dyed blonde. He said it was still there in a couple locations, and it looked like quite a bit of hair, if that's what it was. To me, it looked like hair. I haven't had a chance to go out there. He's told me about it for about at least 2 months, and I still just been too darn busy working. I haven't had a chance. So, the secret tunnel by Preston Pierce's house. This is in relation to the Gretchen Fleming case. That tunnel, I haven't had a chance to find it or go down there yet. From my understanding, it is right by the rental house that Preston Pierce lived in, and from my understanding, he only lived there for a few weeks before he was evicted and broke his lease and had to pay in a court settlement from a company down in Charleston, I believe. So why was he only living there for a few weeks? I understand he was getting harassed and stuff, and yes, that might be why he moved, but what if it was all planned and he went to that house because he had planned on doing something to Gretchen? I don't know, but I'll tell you one thing. Initially in that case, I was talking with him on TikTok, and it didn't seem like he was really telling me the truth of the events that happened that night on December 4th of 2022 in relation of Gretchen and the bar and everything that happened. I do think that John Jason Pape is still involved. We haven't been doing a ton with this case lately, but I don't trust his sister Judy personally at all. I know she was trying to look for me back when I worked at Save-A-Lot, and her reason didn't actually seem like it lined up. I don't know. It seemed like I almost caught her possibly in a lie. So, she was having her brother there. You could say harboring if he is a criminal in this case. I don't know. We can't prove anything. But I don't know. It just seems like there's more going on with this case. And from what I'm hearing, that the authorities do want to make some kind of a move on this, but they haven't found a body yet. And I've gone over a few locations of where the body could be. This secret tunnel could be one of them. I haven't had a chance to make it down there yet. So what do I mean by secret tunnel? Well, I was told that a woman that lives right by this secret tunnel saw or sighted Preston Pierce going down there, and this has been years ago at night. And she said, "What are you doing down there, weirdo?" And he said, "Well, I'm chasing a cat." So she was like, "Yeah, no, you need to get out of there." It just makes me wonder, evil things can be done underground. Oftentimes they are. What if this was planned? What if something happened? And what if maybe she could be down there? Nobody else has come up with that theory yet. I am hearing the same thing from the drug community. Everybody that has talked about this case who is in association with the drug community keeps saying that Gretchen would be buried out at Wayne National Forest. Specifically, they don't really know. The closest I've been able to get is that could be between mile markers 10 and 12 outside of Newport, Ohio, maybe in a barrel. And that's what I keep hearing, is that maybe she was burned and put in a barrel, which if that was the case, it would just be bones at that point. If you guys caught our video about 2 years ago already, or at least a year and a half ago, we went out that way, and it was kind of weird. There was a black truck, like it was staged, just waiting on us after we went on this man's property unknown. We didn't know it was his property. His dogs came out barking like crazy, and then we kind of hightailed it out of there. Well, there was a black truck just sitting there on the interstate, and it followed us for 15 miles or so at high speeds, between 70 and 80 miles an hour. So something weird is going on. And is it just Preston involved? I would wager to say no. Like I said, I've all along thought that John Jason Pape was involved. And when you get Parkersburg police basically forcing bar staff and the DJ that night to sign off on NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, that should be illegal. They shouldn't be allowed to have people sign off on non-disclosure agreements, but regardless of what's legal and what isn't, you got to ask the question, why would they do it? Well, it's probably to keep things hush-hush, okay? We're getting separately in another case, I'm being told, about Chloe and Joey, the young couple that was killed several months ago on an ATV accident out here in rural Parkersburg, I think just to the south, maybe somewhere out by Walker, if I'm thinking right. And there was a cop, I believe his name is Edward McComas, and I'm being told that one of the mothers in that case is now wanting to pursue a criminal suit against that officer. He is no longer on the police force, so it appears he has been punished for his role in this crime, but there's some confusion on what exactly happened in this thing, and it appears that they all three were drinking, the cop included, and that allegedly, we don't know, but apparently the rumor is that he did something with the body, tried to conceal or maybe hide something to make it look like he wasn't involved. He was the driver of the ATV, which I believe was Joey's ATV, if I'm thinking correctly. His family had a lot of money, and I think that possibly that cop may have tampered with evidence, and I don't know. There's a lot going on, and I do believe that one of the mothers of that case is pursuing allegations against that officer. So I don't know what's going to happen in this case, but there's a lot going on locally in our community. We've had reports of people coming up dead in the rivers and stuff. The one locally, what was his name? It's on top of my head. His birthday was August 8th, and we had actually smelled the body a couple months ago. Well, beginning of July 1st or the end of June, and then he was found on July 4th, but the police never found him. It was a guy working at Kratom, I believe. I think, one of the factories out there by Blennerhassett Island, and he found this guy floating down the river, and I think that he originated from Parkersburg, the little Kanawha River, and went out and floated down into the Ohio at the confluence where it joins up. Thomas Basim, I think he was 43 years old. So there's a lot going on, and we try to stay on top of things as best we can. I'm going to try to check into this secret tunnel tomorrow if I can, and see if there is such a thing, where it's at. From what I'm being told, you need a few people to move a big boulder over the entrance. Well, I wouldn't be surprised, because if you guys caught my one video 2 years ago about how we found that secret tunnel down behind the Scottish Rite Freemasonry building off 13th Street in downtown Parkersburg, and that was concealed, but the statue was fallen down because the city did bulldozing of the trees down there, and that's how I had found it, and other people found it too, a few. And then I did a video, I went down in there, Didn't go very far, didn't really find out the true nature of it, but several of us are questioning, were evil things done down there in the past? Does the city have deep and dark secrets? Well, my guess would be yes. I mean, it could be a prohibition tunnel. It could be where the slaves escaped to freedom over the Ohio River. I mean, this happened right here. Parkersburg High School was actually the first high school where a black person went to school in the South, back when this was still Virginia. I do believe it. No, it probably would have been the state of West Virginia at that point, but I think it was still considered the South because it was south of the Mason-Dixon line, and the Ohio River kind of marked that. And once the slaves escaped through the Underground Railroad to Belpre, Ohio, then they got their freedom. So could that tunnel have been used for that? It's possible. I'm being told that maybe it connects with some houses out here through Parkersburg, and then also on Highway or Route 47. That's a distinct possibility. I don't know for sure though. So I'm also getting reports of human hair. If I haven't mentioned it yet, at Fort Borman, guy's wife found it with him about 2 months ago. They called the police. The police were kind of intimidated, said they didn't want to go out there alone. They wanted backup. So I don't know if they ever made it out there. From what I'm being told, they haven't. I have not made it out there. I haven't had time. I've been working 4 part-time jobs, and I'm now going to school full-time, taking a full load of classes, 19 credit hours. So I've got a lot going on. I'm trying to do what I can for you guys to give you some updates on this channel. That's one of the reasons we have this channel, is so you guys can find out what's going on locally, to expose evils, stuff like that. I am being told that the fire situation of, a lot of times it's a homeless or an abandoned building. I should say an abandoned house. But oftentimes we're finding out that homeless people are setting fire to these buildings. Is there a reason that they're doing it? It could be that city council might be putting them up to it. And I've been given a name, and it would blow your socks off, who could possibly be involved in this. I'm not saying that there is anything concrete. I don't know that yet. But the rumor is that, yes, it is somebody on city council. And I know I went to a city council meeting maybe about 3 months ago, and we were told by the mayor that nobody on city council was doing it. If somebody was, he wanted to know about it, and he would make an arrest. And he even made a comment of hanging them or something, which he was joking, but the people in the meeting didn't take very kindly to the joke. They were really shocked that he said something like that. Now, I get he was just joking about it. I'm not trying to start things unnecessarily here. So you can overlook the comments, I suppose, but is there some substance to this? Is somebody on city council setting fires to these buildings? And if so, it probably would be because it is something called urban renewal through decline. What do I mean by that? Well, it's the way for a city to get rid of the rubble and the trash and the non-desirable stuff and bulldoze it down to the ground, which we see that often happens, and then put something new in its place, or just have an open spot in an effort to try to clean the city up. But I will say, I was given a name. I'm not putting it out there just yet because I don't have any real substance to this. A couple people have talked about this, and it seems to line up, but that's as far as I've gotten so far. So let's just say that they better hope I can't prove it, because somebody would be in a lot of trouble if that was the case. You shouldn't be doing it this way. There are legal methods to doing this, but what we're being told is that somebody is buying these houses up at auction, and then all of a sudden these houses are being set ablaze. Now, there was one that happened last night. I don't know where it was. I can't confirm. I just saw the headline. I didn't look into the article. So, with that being said, there's a lot going on. As you know, I've covered pretty much most of the things locally that have been on our radar. I am going to get farther into this, so won't be much longer, and I'll be certified to really do stuff as a private investigator. I'm going down that road, and who knows, maybe one day we'll figure something out of what's going on in this city. But we've gotten a lot of people involved. A lot of people are curious as, is there anything really going on, or is it all just rumor and innuendo? I don't know for sure. But we have our thoughts and suspicions. We're going to try to get you an update on the secret tunnel if we can find it tomorrow. So stay tuned for that, and I appreciate you guys listening to the events of our local community, as well as the race that I ran and how I did in it. Thanks as always, and until next time, guys, Godspeed.